What causes individuals to shy away from taking a risk, even if it is a low risk and will give them something they really want? Well, certainly high on most people's list would be the fear of loss, failure, and perceived humiliation if the loss were to occur. I think we should start by realizing that the good we realize when we step out and take a risk is only part of the gain. The real win is the confidence and experience we acquire, which translates into new opportunities for growth, enjoyment, and expansion in all areas of our life. When you think of the word risk, what comes to mind? You must understand that risk is not synonymous with gambling. Risk-taking is not gambling in any sense of the word. I have often said that the truly big winners in the world are the individuals who make decisions. They also take risks. But they do not view the decisions they have made as gambling. The big winners in life are truly focused on where they are headed and what they are doing, and typically they are involved in a really big idea. The big winners in life are confident. They never imagine that they'll fail. They are prepared to put everything into making it happen. Their energy, their time, their money, the list goes on and on. The average individual most certainly looks at their moves as enormous risks. Over the years, I have read, heard, and collected numerous human interest stories about extraordinary people. Stories that have inspired me to continue taking risks. Risks that have continued to set me free. Some time ago, Jerry Robert, the author of Conquering Life's Obstacles, shared a story with me that I shall never forget. I want to share that story with you. It's a true story about a great risk taker from Indiana in the United States of America. The man's name is Herman Krannert. Go back with me to the year 1925. This story begins in Indianapolis. Herman Krannert was an executive with the Sefton Container Company. He was summoned to Chicago to have lunch with the president of the company. He was very excited, and for good reason. He had never been invited to have lunch with the president before. Krannert met his president at the athletic club, and while they were having lunch, the president said, "Herman, I'm going to make an announcement in the company this afternoon that greatly impacts your life. We're going to promote you to Senior Executive Vice President, and you're going to be the newest member of the board of directors." Krannert was stunned. He said, "Mr. President, I had no idea I was even being considered for this. I want you to know that I'll be the most loyal employee this company has ever had. I'm going to dedicate my life to making this company the finest corporation in America." The president was gratified by this and said, "You know, Herman, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's one thing I'd like you to remember. As a member of the board of directors, you will vote exactly the way I tell you to vote." The president's command took the wind out of Herman Krannert's sails. He said he wasn't sure that he could do that. "Come on, Herman, that's the way it is in the business world. I'm putting you on the board of directors. You'll do what I tell you, right?" The more Herman thought about what the president had said, the angrier he became. At the end of the lunch, Herman Krannert stood up and said, "Mr. President, I want you to understand that I cannot accept this promotion. I will not be a puppet for anybody on a board of directors or anywhere else." Then he added, "Not only that, but I will not work for a company where such demands are made. I quit." He came back to Indianapolis that night, approached his wife, and said, "You'll be excited to know that today I was promoted to Executive Vice President. I was made a member of the Board of Directors, and I quit." She said, "You quit? Have you lost your mind?" But when he told her what happened, she was very supportive and said, "Well, I guess we'll have to find something else." 4 nights later, a knock came at his door. 6 senior executives from his company burst through the door, all excited. "Herman, we heard what happened the other day. We think that's the greatest thing we've ever heard. In fact, we quit too." "What do you mean, you quit too?" Herman said. "That's it, Herman. We quit too. And here's the good news. We're going to go to work for you." "How are you going to work for me? I don't even have a job." They replied, "Oh, we figure you'll find something, Herman, and when you do, we're going to work for you." That night, those 7 people sat down at Herman Krannert's dining room table. and created the Inland Container Corporation, an organization which exists because one man in 1925 refused to compromise his core beliefs. Herman Krannert found himself in a position where he was forced to make a major decision. His choice was obvious: compromise his beliefs and live a lie, or risk everything. What would you have done? What do you believe? What are your core beliefs? You must recognize them, and you must live by them as Herman Krannert did, or you will never be free. You will be someone else's puppet. I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe in God. I believe in an all-powerful, ever-present, all-knowing presence, which operates in a very exact manner, more commonly referred to by law. I believe this power will give me what I ask for every time and without exception. If I ask for the strength to walk where I have never been before, the strength will be there when I need it. If I need a creative idea to solve a problem, I will be inspired at the right moment. I believe in the law of opposites. If you can see a negative situation, you know there is a positive hidden somewhere within the situation, and if you seek, you will find. If risk is to expose oneself to a chance of loss, by law, you must also be exposing yourself to a win. However, you must keep in mind that the laws are exact and must be understood. The law of polarity, or as we previously referred to it, the law of opposite, does not merely state that everything has an opposite. It is equal and opposite. If the risk is small, the win will be as well. However, the size of the risk you take is not that important. What is important is that you absolutely refuse to play it safe. Taking small risks will lead to larger ones. Michelle, who does such a magnificent job singing on this cassette, put it best the other day when she pointed out that big trees grow from small seeds. How true that is. Risk-taking should be a subject taught in school, along with reading and mathematics, and it is a subject that could be taught. You can teach anyone anything. Unfortunately, very few people were taught anything constructive about risk-taking when they were children. When we were children, our little ears were constantly hearing, "Be careful, you might fall." What did they mean, might fall? We did fall. We're going to fall. Where the heck did they get this might stuff from? Think of how much better equipped we would be to face life's challenges and succeed regardless if we had repetitively heard, "Take a chance and don't worry about falling," because you're going to fall. Often, falling is an important part of learning. Many of the greatest lessons you will receive in life are going to come from falling, from your failures. Failing will never make you a failure unless you quit. Unfortunately, very few people heard that when they were small. The vast majority of our population have been mentally programmed to play it safe. In my seminars, I have often said that a little baby is a natural-born risk-taker. The baby never considers the consequences of falling when it is learning to walk. Falling is acknowledged as a natural consequence of learning to walk. It is not gambling. Everyone knows that the baby will fall, but that ultimately the baby will learn to walk. The baby, nor the baby's parents, never considered an option that the baby would not learn to speak or master a myriad of motor skills simply to avoid the stumbling the baby must endure. What happens to us? Why do we enter the world one way and for most people leave another? Why is it that we do not see the process of reaching our goals as having steps similar to the ones the baby must take in order to learn to walk? There will be some stumbling and falling in the learning process, but success can only be reached when we are prepared to take those steps, all of them, even the ones where we may fall down. You must constantly challenge yourself. When I was a youngster in school, I participated in track and field. Pole vaulting was my specialty. It was the one event I seemed to do much better at than others. I clearly remember I knocked that crossbar flying more often than I cleared it. I also remember I was not a very enthusiastic kid when that happened. I suppose knocking the bar off left me with a feeling that I had failed, And as I remember, no one advised me of anything different. Reflecting on those days, I can clearly see those times would have been a tremendous opportunity for the teachers to help me understand one of life's greatest lessons. But it never happened. It would be for many years before I learned the truth, the hard way. Reaching the goal is not success. Success is moving toward the goal. When I was knocking down the crossbar, I was attempting to reach the goal. I was stretching, giving everything I had. That could hardly be considered failing. Every time I tried to clear that bar, I was risking the ridicule of the other kids. I risked having them laugh at me when I missed, and they did laugh. They sure did. Every time I ran down the field, lowering the pole into the box, trying to vault myself over the bar, I was challenging myself. Taking risks is essential when you want to reach a goal, and the purpose of goals is growth. When you challenge yourself, you are bringing more of yourself to the surface. If you knock the bar flying today, at least you will know you're challenging yourself. Your success. Intellectually, you know different. But it is not your intellectual mind that's controlling your behavior. That is determining the results you receive in life. Your behavior and your results are the expression of your conditioned subconscious mind. That part of your personality which is housing the ridiculous play-it-safe information, which has been passed along from one generation to the next for too long. 90-some% of us are the product of someone else's way of thinking. Make a decision right now to change. Decide this very moment there will be no more playing it safe, just freedom from now on. No more saving it for a rainy day type of thinking in your life. When people get caught up in the habit of saving for a rainy day, that's generally what they get, a rainy day. Let it go. Take a risk. Open the doors of your mind and step out where the sun shines. Make magic. No more rainy days. You may get some liquid sunshine, but no more rainy days. If you dream of living your life in a really big way, you must accept risk-taking as a very real part of the apprenticeship that you must serve.